Okay, you guys ready? All right, now this is Miss Shelby. So Miss Shelby is going to help us. You're going to help us. Miss Shelby is going to help us today to learn a little bit about horses, because the most important thing we want is for you guys to know how to take care of horses so they don't end up with a horse rescue one day, right? From doing that. So, let me teach you a few things about horses. Number one, how old do you think a horse gets to be?
Like 30?
30, yeah. 20, 30, yeah. The average age for a horse is about 30, okay? But they can live as long as 50. We met someone who had a horse that was 56 years old, right? 56. So they can run all the time. Most of them are about 30 and do that. Now, do you know how I know how old they are? Their teeth. You're right. So baby doll. So on the teeth, okay, you see that line that goes down the middle of the teeth? And it's okay if you want to come closer. All right. See that line that goes down the middle of the teeth?
Layla.
Yeah. So when that line, when they're born, it starts at the top and works its way down. When it's all the way down through, that means she's 20. And then it starts to dissolve back out, okay, as she gets older. So when we're bringing a horse in and we're not sure the age, oftentimes we can look at the teeth. Now we can look at the mane and we can look at the tail as well, but the teeth are the big thing, because you see that line, it kind of tells us what's going on, right? Now to take care of their teeth, they need a dentist just like we do. Okay? Because when they're chewing the hay, it makes their teeth really sharp. They rub against each other and they get really sharp, and then it starts cutting their mouth, and therefore they're like, well, I don't want to eat anymore. So what the dentist does, which is really our veterinarian, right, is that he comes in and then he takes a little grinder and just grinds off those teeth across the top so they're nice and smooth, and then you can chew easy, right, baby? You can. Okay, now, here's a couple of safety things about a horse. Number one, their eyes. See how their eyes are set on either side of their head? Okay. That means they can see almost 360 degrees. They can see almost all the way around them. Okay? But where can they not see? Straight in front of them, right? Because there's nobody there, they can't see. There's no eye there. And straight on their back. So anytime you pass behind a horse, you always touch them on their bottom. Okay? As you're walking around, that way they know you're there. Because if you scare them, they might jump, okay, and kick. They don't want to hurt you. Okay, they love you, but if they can't see you, they don't know what's going on. So when you approach a horse, you don't approach them straight on. Okay, you come up to them from the side so they see you. And then if you want to give them a kiss, it's okay, because she knows I'm there.
Or don't walk up and put your hand underneath.
That's right. We never walk straight forward and put your hand right here, because they always assume there's a treat, and they'll start biting. If they can't find the treat, what do they keep doing? They start, let's look at the fingers. Maybe it's in between the fingers, and they start chewing around. They're not trying to bite you, but they're like, maybe it's there. They're looking for that treat. Now, what colors can a horse see? Give me an idea. Can they see all colors? Or just black and white? What? Not that. So here's what you need. Horses can see big, right? Blue, yellow, green. Those are the colors that they can see, and they can actually make up blue, yellow, green. Other colors are kind of like different shades of gray, you know. So they can see some color, right? But not all the colors like you and I can. Right, now you notice her ears up on top? Now, see how her ears will turn all the way forward and all the way back, okay? When she turns her ears all the way forward towards you, she's listening out that way, okay? When she turns back, she's listening behind her. So you'll see as I move around, sometimes she'll move her ears because she's trying to follow me and listen to me when I'm doing. Now these ears tell us a lot, okay? So now Shelby's the boss mare. She's the boss of the herd, right? So whatever she says goes, and all the horses know it. So when she doesn't like what somebody's doing, you know what she does? Yeah, she just takes her ears and pins them down just like that. And they see it, and they run. They're like, uh-oh, we're going to get in trouble. Mom is telling us to do something, right? So she can hear really well. In fact, she can hear something almost 2 miles away. Think about that, how far that is. So that's why when the storms here in Texas are rolling in, sometimes they start wandering around and getting nervous and getting messy, because they can hear the thunder. They can hear what's happening further away than us, and they can also kind of sense what's coming our way, right? So they can hear. You guys have been around seeing that the horses have all different sizes of heads, don't they? Some have little heads, some have big heads. Someone like Layla there, her head's a little, big for her body, right? She's kind of like a big head, littler body, and the others have a really big head and a body that fits, right? So instead of measuring here, because that can be different, it could just be the size of the head that's making a difference. And so we measure here, and that's how we keep it true between all horses, right? This is called the withers, and we measure it up. Now we use a measuring tool or measuring system called hands. You heard this? Hands, yeah. That's very confusing, isn't it? But it used to be, how do you know how tall the horse was by the king's hand. And you would take the king's hand and you would, how many of the king's hands tall is it? Well, the problem with that is, kings are all different sizes too, right? So they, go ahead. She's using it. So the kings, so what they did is they created a system that says really about 4 inches, right? So that's what. So we measure them in hands. So we might say that old Shelby here is 14.3 hands, right? And that's what we might say about her. I'll tell you what her height is a little bit better. Okay, so let's see. Let's talk about their hoofs. One of those important things. Now you see, she's got this little crack down here in her hoof. Okay, so have you ever done that to one of your nails? Okay. How long do you think it takes for that to heal? In essence, for her hoof to go from here, which is new, all the way out to the bottom. It takes 1 year. Very good. It takes 1 year, about 1 year. So you can see a difference a lot of times in the horse. So if you go down and you look at Maverick, for example, Maverick, you're going to see a line right across the top up here because now that Maverick's getting really good nutrition, his hooves are getting healthy.
He's down in quarantine.
He's down in quarantine, and he's the pain down in quarantine. So his hooves are getting really healthy now, and so it's starting to come down. So this yucky part, that's where he's all bruised and yucky, is going to come off. We're going to cut it off, right? Who's the person that takes care of that horse? A farrier, right? A farrier. Now that's a tough job because you have to bend over with horses all day, right? I don't know if I could do that job, but it's incredibly important, and it's really a lot more difficult than people think. Because with Miss Shelby here, she has to trim this hoof and this hoof different than she does the backs. Because she watches the way she walks and she sees what happens. Remember, Shelby has problems with her back with DSLD, so we have to trim the back hooves different than the front hooves. That's what we have to do in that situation. Does that make sense? In that process. Okay, good. So, how much water do you think Miss Shelby drinks in a day? A gallon's a lot of water. Yeah. It's more like 10 gallons.
What?
Yeah, it's more like 10 gallons. Now, I noticed you guys came in with some Stanleys today. You know those big Stanleys? Yeah. All right. How many of those do you drink a day? Like 1 a day? 2 a day? Maybe like 2? That's good. Shelby would drink 32. She would drink 32 of your Stanleys a day of water because that's how much water she likes. Okay. Now, she loves to eat hay. Hay is very healthy for them. Right? Remember, we give them the 2 types of hay, right? We give her alfalfa, which helps keep her tummy good, okay, and keeps her, plus it's sweet, she loves it, okay, it's a little sweeter. And then we give them either Tef or Timothy, depending on what they are. So when they come in their healthy weight, we give them Timothy. When they're not like the real skinny ones that come into quarantine, we give them Tef because it's got high protein and helps them gain some weight back, okay? The more weight they have, the healthier they can be. Now, they can. This one right here can get a little overweight sometimes, so we have to watch her. Right?
She's always on a diet.
She's always, yeah, you're always on kind of a diet. Kids are always a little bit, right? So she wants to help you guys see that.
I'm saying the girl says she didn't get you a Venmo.
Well, then you do it.
That's Layla Rose Venmo.
No.
Yeah, mine is.
Yeah. All right, what questions do you guys have? How much is a horse worth? Weigh. Great question. How much does a horse weigh?
Well, she weighs more than she should.
Well, so this, remember we talked about her maybe needing a little bit of diet? I'm talking about you in front of you. It's because she weighs a little bit more than she did. Average horse weighs about 1,000 to 1,200 pounds. All right? It's a lot. Yeah, it's a lot. So that's heavy. And that's the reason why why we always talk about being very careful around them, right? Because Miss Shelby might step on you. She don't see you. She doesn't know. She didn't mean to.
She can't see her foot.
She can't see her foot, so she doesn't know she stepped on you. And because she's so big, she doesn't know she's standing on your foot. And so, but that's 1,000 pounds. That's a lot of weight, right? That's coming down. Yeah. So that's kind of tough. So yeah,
that's why it's important you keep an eye on your feet when you're around them.
That's good. What other questions? That was a good question. You talked about how old they were, how much they weigh. What else? How much do they weigh? Well, On a horse, the value of the horse is based on how much you've put into them, how much training you've done. Okay, so some horses are used in the ranches around here in Texas, right? And so how do they take care of the cows? How do they round them up? How do they do all those things? They have to have a lot of training to do that, and that training costs a lot of money. So those horses are worth more, right?
So the average horse is going for $1,500 now?
Yeah, $1,500 is about right now here in Texas what an average horse is with that. On adoption fee, if you're adopting from our rescue, it's really going to depend on, she's I'm done with her class. It's really going to depend on the horse itself, you know, in that situation. Of course, we're not trying to make any money on horses here, so we always lose money on horses. But
like Chloe went for $900.
Yeah, Chloe adopted for $900.
If she doesn't, she's not under saddle or anything.
Okay. And we spent a lot more than $900 to rescue Chloe. So
Yes.
That's all right. All right, what other questions?
How do you know like the size of horse to get their ride?
Okay. So one of the things about, you'll notice on these, on the side up here, we usually put the size of what this is. So if you're talking about one of these, so if you look up here, it'll say average or large, or what does it say for the baby? Full. Thank you. I couldn't remember what it said. It says full. So we have a problem with Magic and Mike, right? Because these are all real big on them, right? Even the full ones are big on them. And the full ones mean the baby ones, right? So she is a mare because it's a female, right? And the male is either a stallion or a gelding. Okay, those are the two types. When they're first born, okay, like Bentley out there, she's a filly. Okay, so a young female, a young girl is a filly, and then the young boys, like Chevy down there, at 14, is a colt. That's what you call them in between them. So, yeah. Those are good questions. Any more? There's a lot to know about a horse, isn't there? Yeah. So the more you know about them, the better you can be around them, the safer you can be around them, right? If you know, watch their ears, okay? It'll tell you what's going on. If you look at her eyes, it's kind of hard to tell what she's thinking, isn't it? Yeah. But one thing we do know is that when she is thinking, her eyes are blinking, okay? When she's relaxed, you'll notice that she'll start licking and chewing. So when you're working around her and she's okay with you, and she's relaxed, she'll start licking and chewing. Now, horses sleep standing up, right? In fact, they sleep with their eyes open. So sometimes you'll come in here and Layla's starting to doze off right there. You got her going to sleep, doesn't he? But sometimes I'll come in here and they're sleeping, and Buddy he'll actually lay down in the stall to sleep, but he snores. He's a really loud snore.
She's loud.
She snores too, but their eyes are wide open. So the first time I ever saw it, I thought, is something wrong with the horse? Something's going on, because they were sitting there and their eyes are open. There was that loud noise. I'm like, oh, they're having trouble breathing. And she's like, they're sleeping. I'm like, oh, okay. That's what they do. Now, you know, sorry. She snores too, so it's not just you. It's not just you. All right. Well, there you go. Everything you ever want to know about a horse, right? All that kind of stuff. So, okay. Miss Shelby, you guys want to tell Shelby thank you?